Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is Ebbie with Ebbie Reviews, and this is going to be my review and recap of David Makes Man Season 1, Episode 1, David Sky. So, okay, this is a new show from Oprah on the OWN network. First, I want to give a shout out to El Teddy, official. Um, I had heard about this show, but I really wasn't sure I was going to watch it until, until El Teddy spoke so highly of it. So, um, let's get into it. I don't have notes. I've watched it 3 times, and it's literally playing in the background on my TV right now as we speak. So I don't have any notes. I'm going to go off of the top of my head. I don't know how that's going to work, and I probably will not do that as the season progresses because I feel like it's a lot that's going to happen and I'm going to need notes to keep up. But we're going to dive right in. So this show is about a young man named David. He is in middle school in the 8th grade, I believe. It starts with David is dreaming and there's a night sky and there's all this water. And when he comes to the surface or wakes up, his little brother is standing next to his bed. His little brother JG is standing next to his bed, and he is okay. He has wet the bed, so he gets the sheets. He takes his brother to the bathroom and says, wash up, you know. And he starts to prepare his day. He looks over and his mama is in the bed, knocked out. And so he goes about getting himself and his brother together to go to school. He's washing the sheets and the clothes and things, and drops his brother off at school. He is running to catch the school bus that is supposed to pick him up and take him to his school. He goes to a magnet school. And I'm very familiar with magnet schools because my children went to magnet schools, and I know that if you have to be, the bus will come to wherever you are to a certain spot, and they're called cluster stops, and they'll pick the children up and take them to the school, but you have to be there and be there on time or the bus will leave you. And then at that point, I would have had to take this little raggedy muffins to school. However, David doesn't have that option. So when he misses the bus, he has to get on the city bus. And of course, the gentleman on the city bus, this bus driver, is giving him all type of fever when he gets on the bus. To the point where the baby has on his school uniform, and he tried to pay the student fare. He was like, "How I know you going to school?" No, nigga, I'm just wearing this shirt just to be wearing it. But I digress. So David gets on the bus, and so he's just sitting there, and he has a conversation with this gentleman on the bus, and they clearly know each other. And the gentleman's name is Sky, and they have an interaction about him going to school and blah 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 blah. And so we'll get to Sky because we see Sky several times. Now, you never see Sky interact with anyone else on the bus, which which was my first clue that there was something going on in the relationship between Sky and Sky and David. So David gets to school, and he's supposed to be giving they're giving presentations given to in his gifted class, which is the only gifted class that he is in, that is taught by Felicia Rashad as Dr. Woodstock. Dr. Woods, I think it's Woodstock is her last name. So David wants to go first and give his presentation first. However, okay, so when David gets to school, he meets up with his best friend Seven. Severin. I don't know how to pronounce the baby's name. But him and his best friend gets out of the car. He has a white mama and a stepdaddy. Um, but when you first see him, you're not quite sure. I thought the mama was the stepmama. I thought she was the step parent because she was white and the daddy is black. But apparently, that is not the case. The stepdad, is the step parent for Savine, baby, whatever the baby's name is. I'll get it right before too long. So, he is having go to class, and Dr. Woodstock starts talking about um, the presentation, which is being supposed to go, "Where am I from?" So, David really wants to go first, but as he gets up to start his presentation, his best friend Severin also gets up, but he gets up with a little more authority and starts talking and gives this wonderful presentation where he's singing, and he at the end he brings in a lot of class participation, and David is a little salty because he wanted to go first, and clearly in his little 12, 13-year-old feelings, so not really thinking about the consequences of what he's about to do, which of course is what 13-year-olds do. Just knowing he's angry and mad, and so he wants to make his friend angry and mad. When he goes up to his friend after everyone is clapping and like, "Oh, good job, Blasey Bloom," he leans over and whispers to his friend something. I want to say he I don't think it was clear what he said because it comes up later. But whatever it is that he says to his best friend clearly shakes his best friend to the point to where he punches him in the face, and they get into an altercation. So they are sent to the principal's office. And the principal is like, "Well, what is your issue? What's happening? What's going on? Why is this happening? Because you're going to explain it or y'all going to be suspended." And that's just it's going to be what it is. And David covers for whatever it is he said to Seven. He said that I called him a wannabe nigga. Excuse me. Y'all bear with me. I'm recording a video, boo.
Let's just take your shoes back.
Okay. Hi, Scooter Boopy. Hi, Boopy Boopy.
Make sure you ain't got purple lipstick on.
He doesn't. This is not coming off.
Okay. Just have to make sure.
Alright. Good night, Boop.
I'm about to feed him. I bought him a lot of food. So they gave me half the food for free. Didn't even have to sign over the card.
I feel like there's more to that story, but I'll get to that later. The hell with that. Oh, they're sitting in front of the principal, and David says that he called Seven a wannabe nigga. Now, that's not what he said to this baby. And that he provoked him into hitting him. And so she was like, why would you provoke him? And he really didn't give an answer as to why he would provoke his best friend into hitting him. But he was like, now we got to talk to your parents and blah, 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 blah. So this was the best part of the episode personally for me. Seven, the baby, David and his best friend are sitting outside the principal's office, and they have a complete conversation with each other without speaking a word. And to help with the visualization, because the visuals in this episode are amazing. There is like the writing is like David's writing is in black and Seven's writing is in blue. And they are okay. I'm sorry, not ADHD. Okay. And he was like, "Why would you say that to me?" And he was like, "I don't know." And he was like, he was like, "I didn't do anything to you." it was like this whole conversation back and forth between the two of them about why what was said, why did he say what was said, and now Seven has to go home and face his parents. So, um, David is in the principal's office and by himself at this point, and he says, and the principal is like, he's like, we need to call your mother, and he said, well, our phone is off, and she was like, your mama don't even have a cell phone. He was like, well, it's been off, um, but our water is back on. Meaning, mama had to pay rob Peter to pay Paul. She's like, we got two bills and we got to figure out which one is more detrimental to our living situation. And clearly, we need water more than we need to talk on the telephone. So she paid the water bill and the phone is cut off now, and I'm sure when she get paid again there'll be another major life decision that needs to be made about which bill needs to be, which one is more urgent, and then we'll go from there. And that's just, sometimes that's just what life is. Sometimes you don't have all of the funds to pay every single bill, and you have to prioritize what it is in your that you need in your life. What Sometimes your cable bill ain't gonna get paid. Sometimes your light's gonna get paid. Sometimes your phone bill ain't gonna get paid because you need to pay your water. It's life decisions. It just is what it is. Everybody is not blessed enough to be working and get a check that'll cover every single bill that they have. It just is what it is. Trust me, I know. I worked almost 50 hours of overtime just to make sure that I can make my ends meet. It just is what it is. You do what you have to do. So she was like, she seemed really perturbed. The principal seemed really perturbed. I don't understand why. I know she's dealing with these upper echelon children, and there's not very many of us in that school, but she seemed very outdone by the fact that, you know, these life decisions had to be made. We didn't have enough money to pay both the water and the phone bill, so we had to choose between one. And she was like, and did you eat breakfast this morning? And I'm assuming that he did not. And she was like, I don't think he's eating. Okay. And she seems okay. So this is just Ebony speaking, and what I gather from what happened. The principal seems maybe to have a little chip on her shoulder in regards to Felicia Rashad and Dr. Woodstock. First of all, she calls her Dr. Wood, and David immediately corrects her. She's like, Woodstock is her name. I don't understand why you shortened it to her. Her name is Dr. Woodstock. And she was like, what? He was like, nothing. Because he quickly was, But she tells David, you're gonna have to get this signed by your mama to see the counselor, or you're gonna have in-school suspension. And he's like, okay. So he is going home and trying to avoid the lovely neighborhood drug dealers to get home. However, when he gets home, his little brother is out there beating up on little Willie Derrick. Now, Willie Derrick is supposed to be the lookout tonight for the drug dealers, but apparently either he or Willie Derrick said JG, who is David's little brother, was the one who was out there snitching that Willie Derrick was supposed to be the lookout. So if everybody know he's the lookout, then apparently it'll get back to a snitch who will then turn to the cops, and they know that Willie Derrick is the one who's doing the lookout for the evening. So they would avoid Willie Derrick and being in the hood, I guess, is how that all connects. But JG, little man, got heart, and even though Willie Derrick is bigger than JG whooped his behind. And of course, David saw it and broke it up. And of course, David has much heart as well. And he stands up to the little light-skinned boy who got the tattoo on the side of his face. And He looked crazy. And so the little dark skinned boy with the red dreads, who seems to be the head person in charge of this little gang situation that's happening, I believe he has a soft spot for David. Um, he breaks it up and he's like, look, since we can't use Willie Derrick, then we need somebody to be on lookout. And since JG is the one that was telling about Willie Derrick, we want JG. And David's like, no, he gonna be busy. And the little light skinned boy said it was like, busy doing what? And he was like, be a nine, nigga. Damn. So David says that he will do the lookout now for the evening. So they get home and their mama's home and she's putting like styrofoam cartons of food, pre-prepared food in the refrigerator, and she's like, this is for dinner tonight and this is for your snack tomorrow if you come home and I'm not here yet. And she was like, I gotta go back and work another shift and blah 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 blah. And she was like, and he explains to her, he gives her the letter. He was like, I have to give this to you because me and Seven was fighting in class and and she's like, why do they think you need to see the counselor? And he goes to hug her and starts to cry and just be a 13-year-old boy. But then we realize that is just his inner self doing that. It's what he would want to happen. But of course, he's standing there stoically showing no emotion in front of his mama because I don't know why. I think he doesn't want to put any more of a burden on his mother, which I very much identify with. And that's what I got from the conversation that he has with his mama. That he would like to be more of a child, but their circumstances just don't allow for that. Um, I believe he got in trouble from before. I think she was like, don't let it be like it was last time when the police showed up here looking for you. Because when I thought you was here at home doing your homework and acting like you got some damn sense, and you out being a lookout for Sky, who was the gentleman on the bus, and you out selling drugs and being a lookout in Blase Bloom with Sky. Don't let that be your testimony again. Is pretty much what she's saying. And so, mommy is tired. Mommy is tired. She is like, I don't want this to be our story. I'm doing everything that I can so that I can get us out of this situation so does not continue to be our story. So, David, she tells him to take this money to Miss Elisha for watching y'all. Maybe Miss Elisha is I think she may be the super, or, I don't know. She didn't. I don't know, and I'm not exactly sure if, because Elisha is definitely a man, I think, but I don't know if he's trans or is he a drag queen or I don't know. I don't know. It's not made very clear what's happening, but he is a man and he is in a dress and with full face of makeup. That's all I got for right now. I don't know. And I don't know if we're going to get Miss Elisha's story about what's happening with her and is she trans or what's going on. And David seems real leery around her. And I just don't know if that's because he knows that she is a man and dresses like a woman and there's no explanation for it and he doesn't get it and he doesn't understand. So he's just naturally weary of excuse me, of that. Or if, I don't know, maybe I don't know. And I don't want to put preconceived notions on the show. I just want to let the show be what it is without me putting too much, projecting too much, and then coming up and then being disappointed, and when it's not what I think I thought it was. So David is doing the lookout for the evening, and uh, the head drug dealer brings him like a burrito or something, a sandwich or something to eat, and David says no, no, I'm good, and he's having a conversation with David about how he would love a little brother to look after and blah blah blue and blue to blue, and I think he's trying to groom David to be his little brother, who he can then have him be his second in command, is what I'm thinking. But I don't know. There's something off with that whole. There's something off, and I can't put my finger on it exactly. But there's something about the boy who's the drug dealer, and what I think he thought the relationship was between David and Sky, and now he wants the same type of relationship with David as well. That's what I inferred from what happened, but that's what that is. Um, we David and Sky then have another conversation, and I guess the poem that he was going to do for his presentation, about where I come from, he recites for Sky, and there's a lot of gorgeous visuals in there, and you see it's a lot going on, and there's a sequence where David is running, and you just see his feet running through the woods or a pathway, and he steps in some water, and it changes from his feet running in sneakers to bare feet running with chains wrapped around the ankles. It's a lot. You got I highly encourage anybody who watches this review, you gotta watch it in order to get all the nuances that was in this show. Um, we then go to the next day at school, and he goes to the principal's office, and the day started just like the day before. His brother went to bed, which is another indicator that something else is going on with JG. JG seems really, he like about it. He like angry, but he's peeing in the bed. Something has happened, either has happened or is happening to this baby, and I'm not exactly sure what. But JG wets the bed again. He gets him up. He washes the sheets. They get ready for school. He drops him off at school. He runs. Of course, he misses the bus. He gets on the metro bus. He gets to school. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late." He's signing it. He's like, "I missed the bus." And she was like, "Okay, David, we need you to." He's like, "I know the bus stop is 15, blah, 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 such and such lane." And she was like, "No, we need you to come into the principal's office." And the principal is like, "David, I want to talk to you." And he was like, "I gave my mama that paper. I promise I did." And she was like, "Yeah, I know. I spoke to your mother this morning, and she told me she wanted to make sure that you were telling her everything that happened. And the fact that is exactly what you did, that you told her everything, shows the integrity of you. And you didn't have to tell her everything. You could have made up any old kind of story and sung her a lullaby and made it all good, so she would sign the paper and give it right back to you, but you chose to tell the truth, and that it shows integrity. So you're gonna have to see the counselor, but you can go back to class. We're not gonna put you in suspension." And he was like, "Okay, all right, points for me." So he is happy about it, and he goes into the restroom, talk about some integrity is the word for the day, and he's so happy. And then he looks under the stall, and he sees the feet of his best friend, and he opens the stall door, and Seven is so hurt he's not quick enough to be able to pull his shirt down, but this whole side of this baby's body is beaten and bruised up. So clearly Seven's stepdaddy is beating the bricks off this baby. And it's too much. And he was like, "What are you looking at?" And he was like, "Nothing, I'm sorry." And he walks out. So we go back to, so David is getting home, and he tells Sky, I'm not supposed to be talking to you. You're not here. You're not here. And it starts to rain, and it's just an amalgamation of all of the feelings that David is having right now, because he feels so guilty, because he feels responsible for what happens to Seven. Because if he hadn't said what he said to him, they wouldn't have gotten into a fight. They wouldn't have had to go to the principal's office. They wouldn't have called their parents, and that beating would not have happened to his best friend. And all because he couldn't control his emotions, because he was angry because the little boy went first instead of him going first. And Sky tries to tell David that, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And David's like, it is my fault. My best friend told me that his stepdaddy was laying hands on him and touching him at night, which means he's molesting this baby as well. And he told me that in confidence, and I took it and I used it as a weapon against him. And now his stepdaddy done beat him up again, and all of that is on me. All of it is on me. He told me that, and I didn't need to do, and what I did was, I didn't need to do that. And he is like, and go away, you not here. You died, remember, you got shot. This is when the light bulb comes on that Sky is, don't want to say a figment of his imagination. It may be a figment of his psyche, or he might be a ghost. I don't know. We'll get into that as the secret season progresses. But Sky is dead. Sky is dead. He got shot slinging dope, or by somebody else. So I'm not sure exactly who shot him, but he's dead. And David has, I guess, having a hard time separating the fact that this man is gone out of his life, and he was a huge influence, and he continues to influence him to this day. So I'm not sure, but it was a lot. It's an excellent show, and I highly encourage, if you have not seen it, then go watch it, and then go watch L Teddy official's review of the show, because I feel like mine was a bunch of rambling. And then go, really BTV is going to do a review of the show, and I encourage you to go and watch her review of it as well. I want to say it come on Wednesday nights at 8. I will figure that out and let you know. But that is all I have for this review. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.